Travis Wayne Goodsell. Thinker of Thoughts put out a video yesterday. A little clip by Sheri Dew in the women's conference that was held last week at BYU. And if you... Did I say Sheri Dew? It's still early in the morning. I'm tired from the run. Yeah, Sheri Dew. What is discouraging about Mormonism is Sheri Dew. The church has been allowing her to be a poster child for Mormon women. And if you do not understand Mormonism and how it's family first, the white supremacist slogan taken into Mormonism, you have no understanding of how she has fallen, as I'm pretty sure that's going to be my title. And if you go to her Wikipedia page, you would think that she's a successful, empowered woman of success. Not in Mormonism. She's a failure in Mormonism. Thus, she's fallen. Sheri Dew, born November 21st, 1953, is an American author, publisher. Hey, me too. Why don't I have a Wikipedia page? The executive vice president of Deseret Management Corp. Are they building up to the better thing here? And chief executive officer of Deseret Book Company. She's been a religious leader in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I see they've changed that here for the link. They keep changing what the link's supposed to be for Mormonism. But that religious leader was only a second counselor in the Relief Society presidency from April 5th, 1997 to April 6th, 2002. She's exalting herself, or whoever's doing this Wikipedia page for her is exalting her. Because a counselor is not a leader. They only counsel the leader, the president. As counselors, they're not actually leaders. Even though the church has now turned it into the presidency as the leadership. They've totally taken out the concept of counselors. But I thought this was kind of amusing. In 2003, she was described as the most prominent single. They had to clarify this with brackets, unmarried, LDS woman right now. This is where she fails. She's single. Now, it's not because she chose not to have a family. She's a devout Mormon, faithful Mormon. She wanted marriage. She wanted family. This is her downfall. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, of which inspired her to become who she is, also set her up for failure. This is the sad part about it. Sheri Dew becomes a victim of the church, and she still remains faithful to it. And if you think that because the world, because of the women's suffrage movement, the civil rights movement, and other movements, the feminist movement, and the Me Too movement, have all tried to empower women. That's not understood in the church, guys. The church is sexist. That needs to be understood. And so the church previously have all wanted women to accept the normalizing of them as wives and mothers in the home, barefoot, pregnant, in the kitchen. That's the way it's been. And many a woman, as they were being empowered by the world with all these feminist movements, it became a threat to the church. As the church was now going, oh no, I don't want women to have a voice. We like Paul. Women shall keep silent in the church. Because during Paul's time, women were property. You can't have property have a voice. They can't have a vote. They can't have a say. They were property. This is why the redactor put that in there for Paul. And this clash, as it had to be a harsh reality check to men of the older generations, and still to this day, that women are human. Women can be educated. Women can have careers equal to a man. There are some things that women can't do, which involves the physical body. That's the only difference. But in regards to the mind, women are equal, as long as they are given equal opportunity from birth. And when you have women as property, they don't get educated like men do. They don't get trained and get put in positions of financial benefit, because the man is supposed to be the one over the family. And so Sheri Dew grew up during these movements, and yet still a Mormon in the church. And the church was speaking out against the women's equal rights amendment that was squashed because of the evangelical woman who gave the church an out to say, oh yeah, we agree with her, now we don't approve this, so Utah will not allow it, right, Governor? And legislature? Yeah. And so it was denied here in Utah and never got passed. And so Sheri Dew is all part of this, in this movement. And so it didn't look like she served a mission. She pursued, as women of those, that's Jack. Let's see, personal life. Kansas. Oh, Dorothy, not in Kansas anymore. She was a farmer, the oldest of 5 children. That also explains some stuff about her, because as the oldest daughter, they often are the ones who are to take over the kids, as was the situation with my mom, who is older than Sheri Dew. 5 feet 10 inches tall, so she played basketball. Shorter than my mom. Mom didn't play basketball. Okay. Piano. Yeah, all Mormons are taught piano. I use baseball as my excuse to get out of piano lessons. I've got baseball. It takes up too much time. I don't have enough time to practice the piano. But I did memorize Twinkle Twinkle. And taught me how to hear notes so that I can rewrite it myself. So we thank thee, O God, for a prophet. I've rewritten and I've composed my own stuff, but yeah, as a child I didn't want to be involved. So yeah, no, she didn't serve a mission. So yeah, she pursued an education and a career. As I saw in the singles ward, woman after woman after woman who wasn't there because they're divorced. The younger singles ward's different than the older singles ward. Women have a different mindset in both. And the younger singles ward, they're looking for the cute guy that gives them those tingles. Where when they pray about him, they get an automatic, yes, he's the one to marry. Your spiritual witness confirms that he's the one. And then 5 years later, you'll be divorced. But the stigma of being single will be taken away from you. See, that's the younger generation of Mormon women, is they don't want the stigma of being single. The older women, yeah, you get the two kinds. The one who've never gotten married, who followed the example of Sheri Dew and the feminist movement, that women need to pursue missions, pursue education, pursue career, because the economy helps with that situation. Well, it's too expensive to have a family, and if I can't, well, it requires at least a 2-household income, depending on how much you're making in your fields. And so women rationalize it by saying, well, I need to provide for a family because a man can't do it all by himself in our economy. And then you get the feminist movement of, I'm a woman, I want to pursue a career, I want to pursue an education. And you hear Mormon woman after Mormon woman after Mormon women, what is my purpose in life? What is my purpose on earth that God wants me to perform? I hear this over and over again, as women in the church think that being a mother is not good enough. Women do not understand you have to have all knowledge as a mother. You need to know all career fields as a mother if you're going to properly educate your kids and raise them. But our society has created school system, the public school system, to ditch your kid after you wean them, and your responsibility for raising them has now been taken away, as TV then took over after the kids come home from school, and now we have the internet and streaming and all that stuff. So the parental responsibility has diminished, and thus women have been made to feel like they have no purpose in life. And so, yeah, women think that they've got to pursue a career, pursue a mission, and so forth to feel fulfilled. But in Sheri Dew's case, it was a situation, well, You have to understand that these older single women are, if they look for the perfect man, except for the women who've been divorced. They now know the secret. There is no perfect man, because the one they married failed, and so all men are just like him. But with the church's commandment that you have to be married in order to be exalted, has stressed women out to the max. As women try to compensate for not being married or not being married again, with President Benson, who came out and said no blessings will be withheld from a righteous woman. And that has led to justification for pursuing a career, mission, and education, as they think that they can wait till the final years of childbearing years to find the perfect guy and live happily ever after with one, maybe two children. And I've seen the tragedy in the older singles ward of women who thought that way, that they would save money to afford a family, that they would pursue an education, pursue a career, go on mission, and here they were, never married, in the singles ward, and they're now entering into their 40s, and then they finally reach the age where they're no longer able to be members in the older singles ward, because they've reached that cutoff age. And there is a solemnness on such women. I've seen women who, because no Mormon man wanted them, found any guy who would marry them. I've seen that. And it's a devastating consequence of the church's teachings in Mormonism, that in the younger singles ward, the girls were thinking, I'm going to marry the cute guy and say that, well, he's bishop material. The older singles ward, yeah, well, they're hoping he has a job because they're successful. They expect a man to be equally successful. And the older singles men, no, we're failures. We're there because we failed. We're not there because we pursued our vocation in life, an education, career, and mission. No, we're there because we failed in life. Because all men who can get a woman, get the woman. That's how we've been programmed in our culture. That's how our natural biological functioning works, is that we need the woman in our life. And so as an older singles ward, we failed, whether it be through divorce or no woman wanted us. And women did not know this. And so there they are, expecting the man to be as perfect as them, and they're not. And they end up living the rest of their life single, unless they settle, as they believe. And so Sheri Dew pursued the education, pursued the career. And her thinking process was exposed as to why she was waiting, why she wasn't getting married. Because she seems like an attractive woman. You know, it's different for each guy. Different guys have different attractions. And so, yeah, I know there will be a guy who will find any woman attractive. And so women need to understand that. But for Sheri Dew, I'm sure she had many proposal offers that she rejected. Just like my mother. She rejected guys before my dad. She didn't even want my dad. But she realized she's getting older. The choices of quality are slim. And there's my dad, who's desperately hounding her, even though he's flirting with all other girls. And he'd served a mission. So that was her standards for choosing a guy. And thus I was born. Conceived in '69 at Berkeley, of all places. Equalizer with what's her name? It's a reboot on CBS. Queen Latifah. Her mother in the show was doing a dating profile with their granddaughter and was talking about how she was at Berkeley in '69. That was funny. And so it was revealed in her pursuit of men, because Sheri Dew was raised to prominence in the church, and so people are watching. There's a big gossip in the church. People talk. People say, "Oh, I saw the prophet eat a hot dog," as if that's a sin. Stuff like that gets passed around in the church. And that's why the prophets don't really like to go out in public anymore. As my experience with Nelson when he was an elder or an apostle is a case in point. He had no clue what he was looking for or where to find what he was looking for in the Supersmiths downtown. He was lost. It was new to him. As it was new to me, as I had been able to break free from my prison that the church put me in and paid for. But Sheri Dew had been caught trying to flirt with single apostles. And as apostles and as single, it means they're widowers. Widowed? Widower? Which one's for the men? And she was trying to be the second wife, if you understand Mormonism and polygamy from Brigham Young. And she got rejected, and everybody knew it. And it got spread. And so with that, we do understand why she's single and will be single for the rest of eternity. Because there's only one commandment, women. One. Love. Sheri Dew has been taught by the church the false doctrine that there are levels of superiority in the celestial kingdom. That you can be the better person in the celestial kingdom. And so Sheri Dew thought that, hey, I'm going to pursue the best of the best of the best for the celestial kingdom because she believes that she is worthy and righteous to deserve it, to receive those blessings of a righteous, worthy man equal to her, and that only a prophet is equal to her. That's her thinking process because of her actions. We know her by her fruits. She only pursued apostles. One particular one. She has rejected all other suitors. Now, whether or not they were good quality, I don't know. You know, the church incites men to violence and abuse and all sorts of criminal behavior. And so, the real righteous Mormon is slim pickings. But for Mormons who are incited by the church, choosing another Mormon who's also incited by the church should be easy. You should just be able to hook up and make it work. Unless your self-righteousness conflicts with the other partner's self-righteousness and ends up in divorce. As I did the video where it seems like it's 69% in the church have gotten divorced. And so that's the tragedy of Sheri Dew and how the church caused her downfall. Because the church did not like having women be equal with men. And so they purposely did this, using Sheri Dew as the example poster child, even though she doesn't realize it. To show women, hey, you know, if you want to pursue an education and a career and mission rather than getting married, you know, this is what will become of you. You'll become popular in the eyes of the world. You'll become famous. You'll get a Wikipedia page. But you will be single. And so the church is hoping that girls and women will learn from Sheri Dew that they need a man and they need him bad. There was a period of time where I became the good luck charm for women. As women who got in a conversation with me, didn't necessarily date me, would immediately find some other guy and be married. Instantly. I was really getting bummed by that. And then there ended up being a woman with Jessica Alba. Is it Alba? She wore the penguin panties, where the guy was able to be that lucky charm for women. He got to have sex with them, though. I didn't get to have sex. They did, the women did, after getting married, of course, because women never have sex before marriage, right, women? Yeah, I know those women too. So, I'm not going to tell women what to do, but you need to understand you need to be taught correctly, and the church isn't doing that. That's the only point, is that yes, you get to choose how to live your life, but there are consequences. Sheri Dew's consequences were barrenness, no fruit. and she doesn't realize that she had failed in life as she continues to promote the church that betrayed her